Spring practice started this week for the Georgia Bulldogs. It started on Tuesday. The media was given about 15, 20-ish minutes. I didn't actually keep track this time, which is a little bit out of character for me. But something I really paid attention to and I want to talk about with you guys today is the wide receiver room. And I think that when a guy like Brock Bowers leaves the program, you kind of have to take into account what the wide receiver room looks like because of that as well. Because he was Georgia's leading receiver, whether he was officially a wide receiver or not. He was Georgia's leading guy catching passes, and he was their best offensive weapon of the last 3 years, and it wasn't particularly close. So his impact, his production, it goes. Ladd McConkey's impact, its production, it goes. Marcus Hosmer-Jacksaint's impact, its production. Those guys were there. Marcus for 4 years, Ladd and Brock for the other 3. Those guys were a big part of this thing for the last few years, right? Nothing different. The real question is how do they replace high-end NFL draft talent at that position? And they do it with numbers, and they're doing it by developing it as well. Between Dylan Bell, Dominic Lovett, Ra Thomas, Arian Smith, guys like that, and the transfer class they're bringing in, I don't know that the freshmen are going to get out there that much, just as last year, Anthony Evans and Zeke Haynes didn't really get out there. I don't expect Sokovia White and Nitro Tuggle to be out there that much. But between the transfers and what they've got returning, I don't think Georgia fans should really be concerned about the production in the passing game. And the betting odds aren't concerned either, right? The experts out there in Vegas aren't concerned either because Carson Beck is the Heisman Trophy frontrunner. And if they were concerned that Georgia doesn't have enough weapons for him to get the ball to, I don't think that people would be projecting such a big statistical year from him and for Georgia to be this hands-down favorite to win just about everything in college football this year. I think it'll be fine. I want to share some of my specific observations with you guys as well as talk about what we know from the group already. Ryan Curley from Dawg Post here, talking about the wide receivers for 2024. Make sure you're checking out our link in the description down below. I've got the newsletter linked. If you are not signed up for our newsletter, you are missing out on a notification with Georgia info every single day. 5-star Georgia fans are signed up for the Dawg Post newsletter, as Matt DeBerry would say to you. So make sure you're clicking that down below. And thank you to those who are already subscribed. I'm going to link also my practice story down in there underneath the Eco Poly link as well. You should be looking at all that, though. You should be looking at the description. I know you guys are. I know you guys are listening. Look, I think I have a football crush on Dylan Bell. I think he's going to be really good for Georgia this year. A versatile receiver. They have options when it comes to him and Dominic Lovett at the slot. Well, people ask me, look at Ladd McConkey at Pro Day. Look at Ladd McConkey at the NFL Combine. Look at what Ladd McConkey did at Georgia. How do they replace that? They've got 2 guys that can play in that slot position, and they've got like Dominic Lovett and Dylan Bell, just as Ladd McConkey was, are very versatile receivers. Are they as good? I don't know. We're going to find out. I think that they're not that far off, right? And that's going to show a year from today, roughly, at next year's Pro Day, when you see a ton of other weapons working out for the 2025 NFL Draft. You're going to see how much talent there really was behind guys like Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey. But the thing is, Brock missed a couple games and was basically non-existent in a couple of those as well, right? After his injury, Ladd McConkey, his back was hurting at the beginning of the year. He had some back spasm issues. He had I can't remember what the lower body injury. I believe it was an ankle later on in the season. They missed time, and they kind of complemented each other. And if one was out, the other had a really good game. But there was also the game against Missouri when Dominic Lovett was their best weapon, when Ladd McConkey doesn't have a huge day. I think he had a huge third down catch that day, but he doesn't have a huge production day-wise, right? You get a 100-yard-ish game and a touchdown from Dominic Lovett. I think that he's kind of their alpha, right? When I'm watching practice, he's jumping in front of everybody, right? They have a set order for how they want people to go through drills a lot of the time, and that today in the periods that we got to watch was Dominic Lovett. And he was essentially their primary slot guy outside of the thing about Ladd is he played in a lot of different spots, and I think I don't have like next-gen stats or anything like that in front of me, but just off of the top of my head, Dominic Lovett operated more in the slot than he did on the outside, and Ladd moved around a little bit more than he did. He's going to be that main guy. What I really want to talk about is the outside. You got Ra Thomas, and I think he's your most likely starting X receiver, if I had to guess. The thing is, they're going to have a lot of different packages. You're going to see packages where Arian Smith's out there, and they want to get a go route to him. But as far as their big guy, the guy that's going to be in the spot that Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint was in the last couple of years, you got two good options between Ra Thomas and Kobe Young from Miami. And I got to be honest, you look at the wide receiver room, all I got to see, I didn't even really get to see routes on air, but I was watching the defense when that was going on. But in that one drill that I watched we got about 2 minutes to see them just kind of do little out routes against the DBs. Colby White's going to be a problem on the outside. Remember when Lawrence Cager transferred to Georgia and he had that impact in 2019? Jake Fromm hits him on the outside. I don't know if it's because it's another South Florida transfer, another big guy, but Kobe Young could be that, and they've had that. But adding that to this is going to be really good, and having more than one guy. Look, being healthy is going to be huge for Georgia, and Ra Thomas isn't extremely healthy right now. He's limited for this. I did see him out there. There were some other guys I didn't see, but Ra is going to be impactful as well. I think that it's good that they have more than one option there. I'm going to briefly hit on the tight ends before I round out talking about Dylan Bell and Arian Smith and the other transfers as well. It looks like I said earlier that Dylan Bell, I might have a football crush on him. I just think he's a really good wide receiver, and I think that his versatility is something I really like. Georgia's starting to have a type with these tight ends. Are they trying to go create more Brock Bowers? You look at here, a new official roster. Let's see. Look, we know Oscar Dell put on some weight over his sophomore year and the offseason heading into his sophomore year. Oscar Dell put on a lot of weight. I think they really wanted him to be stronger and become a better blocker for that team. But Jaden Riddell, freshman tight end, 6'4", 235. Extremely efficient pass catcher. Last year, Lawson Lucky, 6'3", 240. What's Brock Bowers? 6'3", 6'4", 240-ish. Oscar Delp, I guess, is probably more like 250 something. If I could find him on this roster. Am I looking at the alphabetical one? Yeah, Oscar Delp is now listed at 245. Used to be about 235, so this is saying that he's put on about 10 pounds of muscle. They want these athletic tight ends that they don't just want to get them blocked. They want them to go out there and be pass catchers. And Georgia likes to run a lot of two tight end sets. So I think you're going to get to see some Lawson Lucky. You're going to get to see, I'd like to see some Jaden Riddell if they deem that the freshman is worthy of some playing time. Obviously, Oscar Delp got a little bit. Lawson Lucky, not quite as much as Oscar Delp did as a freshman. Obviously, Brock Bowers was really, really good. But they're recruiting and developing pass-catching tight ends. And if you just look at the stats and you look at what these guys are capable of, they want players like Brock Bowers. Why would you not want a football player like that? You saw how impactful that was over the course of the championship runs the last couple of years. It was extremely, extremely impactful. He was one of the best players in college football. So they're going after a certain mold there. Back to the wide receivers real quick. Arian Smith. I was impressed with his route running today. 2 different drills where we got to see him do just some quick routes against DBs, and look, he was burning the safeties. He should burn safeties, but even on out routes, even on in routes, right? Just boom, boom. Dan Jackson and Ja'Cory Thomas and those guys, they know what the wide receivers are about to do in those situations in practice, and Arian Smith is making one cut and getting by these guys. So something that was missing in 2023 that we talked about was the deep ball with Carson Beck and how it just didn't really hit. And even on the ones that he did hit, it wasn't as good as you thought it could be. Not hitting a lot of go routes, not hitting a lot of deep posts. Arian Smith is their best guy for that, and they couldn't connect. I've seen them connect in practice during these viewing periods a lot. If that is clicking and they can get the ball in Arian Smith's hands, that's the key, is getting the ball in Arian Smith's hands. It's on Carson as well. There's receivers I haven't discussed in in as detail as the way I have with the other guys. I hadn't talked about London Humphreys. I hadn't talked about Michael Jackson III, who I thought looked pretty good. And he seemed to be the least promising / exciting out of the 3 transfer wide receivers for Georgia. And he's in there in that second group doing drill. So maybe expect Michael Jackson III to get out there on the field as well. But even a guy like Anthony Evans, who they could develop to be another good weapon that's versatile, that can go both inside and out. It's a deep wide receiver room. I think that Dylan Bell and Dominic Lovett and maybe Colby Young might be their best guys. Maybe it is Ra Thomas. They've also got that Arian Smith weapon who's coming back for a 5th season. They are fine at wide receiver. That is my verdict. Link below. Thanks for watching.